How's it going, guys? This is John. Um, I'm a blogger, so I write on my own personal website, jonathan.com, about books because I like to read a lot. So when I started out, I thought it would be nice for me to post my book reviews, my thoughts, my opinions on books that I've read and things like that on my own website, because I wanted to pick up writing as it's like a hobby, and also at the same time get better at it by putting it out there. So I did that at the start of 2020, and so far I've posted um, eight vlog, eight blog posts so far, and the thing's been great, I guess. But it was not until last week that I decided, because last week, like a couple of weeks back, I was thinking I was wondering why I like to talk to myself. I know it might sound funny to some people. I talk to myself all the time. And whenever I do that, I don't have to look in the mirror like some people do. Like they talk to themselves, to psych themselves, to feel better about themselves, things like that. I do that too sometimes, but mostly I just have like a dialogue with myself, and it's like an ongoing thing that's been going on for as long as I remember. I started out as a kid, and then I actually did a video 2 weeks back, and I posted it on my Instagram. If you want to check it out, check out Jonathan Fort on Instagram. So this week I was like, you know what, maybe I'll give vlogging a shot. So this is my first vlog. I'm just recording it to see if I have anything to say. I mean, I actually have a couple of things to say that I sort of like written down. But yeah, I just want to see if this is really what I want to try, and kind of want to see the response to this also, because when it comes to blogging, the interaction is a bit more delayed. Some people would hit me up personally about how they've read my recent blogs and how much they like it, how they disagree with certain things, and then we would have like a dialogue separately. And from what I understand, because I've seen so many vlogs on YouTube, that when it comes to like vlogging, it's a bit more instantaneous. I think that's the word. The interaction is a bit more personal, because I'm putting out my face and I'm talking almost directly to whoever's listening, right? So yeah, it's my first one. Hopefully there'll be more. And today I just want to continue what I actually started a couple of weeks back, which is on the topic of talking to yourself. And since that video came out, actually, there are a couple of people. Actually, I think it was one person who commented on Facebook, and it was my lecturer. It's like from when I was in engineering school. He was like, "Dude, I do the same thing. It's completely normal." And then my friends also texted me about how they do the same thing. So I'm like, cool, this is, I'm not weird. Good to know that I'm not the only person doing it. And so I just want to um, talk about how, like why I do it. For me, it's first thing is like I use it as like a contemplative tool. You can you call that? Like you contemplate things with yourself, like internally. At the same time, you say things out loud. If you form like an opinion on something, and you think about it, right, and then you don't really know how crazy it sounds until you say it out loud. Yeah, that it's along the line of shower thoughts, I would say. And I also do that when do the internal dialogue, like almost every second of my daily life, when I'm pooping, when I'm out walking to the food court to get some food, groceries, whatever. I'll be thinking about stuff, replaying some of the conversations that I had over the week, and most importantly, some of the decisions that I made at work, things like that. And it helps to sort of do the internal reflection, self-reflection in a way, but you're doing it out loud. Yeah, so that's what I use it for most of the time. And recently, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend, and like right before circuit breaker. For those of you that have no idea what circuit breaker is, it's basically a lockdown in Singapore. That's what the government called it, circuit breaker. So right before circuit breaker, my girlfriend and I, we broke up, and it kind of like, it was really hard on me at the time, because I was going through some work related stuff at the same time, that kind of piled up, and then it was like a circuit breaker. So I was basically left to myself to sort of like deal with all the emotional stress, all that jazz. And I was sort of like depressed for like a little while, for 2 months. Spoke to some of my friends, just to stay sane. But I realized whenever I, spoke to my friends, it only helps like momentarily for that hour or so that I was speaking to my friends. I would feel really good about myself. I'll be like, you know what, they're right. I shouldn't be feeling like shit, stuff like that. I mean, I'm not gonna get into details, but what really got me through was that every night I would, once again talk to myself like out loud. Not only would I talk to myself, I would record myself on the phone. So I have like a whole list of voice recording, because sometimes it was so painful that I couldn't even like fall asleep. I was just anxious, I was nervous, I was thinking about stuff, thinking about what it used to be like, what it's gonna be like in the future, like how I'm gonna get over this and all that. So I had to, so every time I had trouble falling asleep, I would just start a recording. I'll be like, hey, today's 21st February. It's 11 o'clock at night. I can't fall asleep, so I'm just gonna talk about this. And then I would just go on for like 10 minutes talking about my problems, what I'm going through, what I was going through. And I would listen back. And it really helped me to fall asleep. That's crazy, isn't it? So I told my friend about it the other night, and I was telling her like that's what really got me through the breakup. And I was like, oh man, that sounds so crazy. I'm like telling people, about how I got over things, and I think it's a great thing for me. I mean, I don't feel ashamed, shameless. Um, it felt normal to me, talking to myself all the time, and so ultimately I realized, maybe, not everything that I have to say is gonna make sense. Sometimes I'm just thinking out loud. Some of the things that I think of are probably not appropriate to be put out there, but I just thought it's a good start to just put it out there. I don't really expect people to make it through the entire video or anything like that. Yeah, and for a lot of you would be like, for a lot of you, this would be like the first time listening to me talk, but English is not my first language, if you can't tell. I'm from Myanmar, so I'm half Burmese, half Shan, and spent my whole life in Myanmar. And then after high school, I went to Malaysia to be with my mom. Now I'm in Singapore. I've been here for like 10 years. And I got questions like, a lot of the time people would be like, hey, how do you learn to speak this way? And first off, I had a great mentor who taught me everything that I needed to know to be able to have the confidence to speak up my mind, to be able to speak the way I'm speaking now. But of course, it kind of took a while, took years actually, for me to find the voice, like the voice that I'm currently speaking in now. Over time, I took on many different persona of people that I really like good orators, and sometimes you just kind of pick up stuff, but most importantly, this habit of talking to myself was the single most helpful thing when it comes to learning anything, really, because like I said, I read a lot, so I would come across many new words, whenever I read a new book, like fiction, non-fiction, doesn't really matter, and every time I come across a new word, I would take note of that. And then while I'm having conversation with myself, like internal dialogue, it's like back and forth. It's not just me saying things. It's like I have someone else in my head who's constantly ready to talk to me. I'm starting to sound crazy, am I not? Anyway, so when I have those conversations, that's when I would use new words that I kind of like know the definition of, but I'm not entirely sure. New words, new phrases. That's how I learn. So I would say things out loud, and I'll be like, wait a minute, what does that mean? Why? How did I come up with that word? How did I just use that in a sentence? So I must know what it means, right? And then I would look it up, and then over time, that helped me to build like this library of words and phrases in my head over the years. So yeah, so if you're wondering how you can pick up language, I suppose this would be a good way to do it. Just talk to yourself. Same thing with jokes. I like to make myself laugh all the time. So I would try to write jokes. I would try to come up with jokes, and I would just crack jokes to myself. and I'll laugh. That's where I was always like, I don't mind being alone at all, because I can make myself laugh. I don't need someone else to be like cracking jokes with me. But of course, it'd be nice to have audience who laugh at my jokes. Otherwise, you're just laughing at your own jokes, and then next time you go to a party, and then you crack the jokes, and they're not funny because it hasn't been foolproofed. What's the word? Like, you lay it out to people, and then they be like, yeah, that's really funny. Yeah. So that's another thing. What else? Yeah, I think those are primarily it. Like it kind of trains your mind to think a little bit deeper, because you're constantly asking yourself a question during every conversation that you have with yourself. You're not just going like, hey, how's your day? I don't do that. That would be weird, right? Because what I do is just any topic that I'm either watching a movie or documentary, reading something, if I disagree with what I'm seeing, I would just, the mechanism would start working constantly to have internal dialogue, and then it would carry on to ask more questions, and then I would have more questions for my research, for my blog post, whatever it is. Basically, yeah, it's a very good tool to train your mental ability. Is that even a word? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and the reason I started with blogging instead of vlogging is because, well, first thing, I didn't have the confidence to sit down and talk to myself. I mean, record myself speaking. But I kind of got over that over many months. And second thing is, I just thought writing, when you write something, you do research first. But when you're vlogging, it doesn't really require as much research, as much material, because you can just, once you start talking, you can just keep going with the flow. And the same is not true for writing. You can take your time with the writing, whereas vlogging, talking to the camera is a bit more instantaneous. So yeah, that's basically why. But anyhow, I've been talking for like over 15 minutes now. Anyway, if you like this, and if you want to hear more from me, just let me know. I actually have a lot to say, and if you want to check out my blog, go to jonathanfort.com. Jonathan, JONATHAN, Fort with the T.com, and I wrote an article or an essay on how to consume information in this day and age. Recently, actually, I posted a couple days back. So if you can check it out, that'd be great. If you like this video, leave a like, and hopefully I get to see you guys soon. Peace.